my name is Leah. Nice to meet you. I study creative direction for fashion. I like doing photo shoots and like doing the art direction and stuff for photo shoots. Cool. I want to get better at photography. I'm really like a little bit, but I want to get good at doing that sort of stuff. After uni, I don't know what the fuck I want to do, to be honest. I think that I want to just do like some assisting jobs and like do like things like that and just like figure it out afterwards. Nice. But yeah, there's me.
Sounds good. I'm Eleanor and I do hair, makeup and prosthetics for performance here at LCF, and I'm actually quite into wig making, which I know is a bit of a rogue like thing because we do a lot on the course and I feel like it's not something that many do, so that's quite fun. But if not, I love like general hair and makeup, fashion shoots, runway, like it's all fun.
I'm really excited to talk to you because my flatmate does hair and makeup, but like the other, not the
fashion.
She does like the other one, and it's like I'm interested to see like because I know that there is like a big difference between them, but she loves like runway and shit like that as well. Like, so I'm interested to see the difference between your guys' course.
Because I think for us it's mostly based around performance of some like capacity, which obviously theirs isn't. So I know they don't really do wigs and things, which is like quite. I feel like with us we do that quite a bit. I love that, but then it is fun that we also get to do some fashion stuff, which it's nice to have the mix. I think that's what I quite like about it.
That is nice. Yeah, Marnie is like not too fond of doing like the hair side of it. Like she prefers to just do, and I think that in terms of like hair they just do kind of like styling like hair and stuff, but I think that they've got pretty free reign to like. Is yours similar where like you kind of people have like a preference, like you said you want to do like hair and stuff, like
definitely.
People have like different preferences like what they want to do.
We do a lot of prosthetics and that's definitely not my skill set. Like I can do it, but it's nothing that I don't really enjoy it. Whereas I know people who like just want to turn people into zombies forever.
I love that.
So it's super cool, but really not my like skills, if that makes sense.
What was it that you'd want to like go into then, like after?
I'm kind of up for anything. Would love a job. I think that would be my number one, like, you know, let's just earn some money, you know. But ideally I'd love to be employed in like a wig making place. So that would be really fun. Did some work experience at a place that supplied all the wigs for like Wicked and like West End and things like that, so that would be incredible. That's like wig dream.
Was crazy.
Well, I've actually saw it in the studio when I was in because it was being sent to New York or something.
I love that it's like all micro braids, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But
it's so nice.
Each strand of the hair is knotted one by one, which is really cool. So, and then obviously after it's braided, and the lace was like dyed green and things like that. So it's really cool.
That must have taken so long. How long does it take to make a wig? Like
you don't want to know. You'd be looking at like, for something, let's say the alpha wig, that would take longer because it's singular hair strands, whereas normally you might do 2 to 4 per knot. It could take from like, I don't know, from foundation making to hair knotting, like 80 hours maybe, a bit longer. Insane. I don't know, 70, 80 hours I guess, but
that's crazy. You must get money.
They're expensive. They're expensive,
but crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. So would you want to go into like TV and stuff? Like,
yeah, honestly anything, like TV, film. Nice. That would be really good. Or if not, a lot of people start off in theatre first because it's like slightly easier way in a way, and also you're more hands-on, whereas if you go into TV and film originally, it's a lot of, you'll be making teas and coffees for the first 2 years, whereas in theatre you wouldn't be. So that's like, you know.
It's so interesting. I was talking to one of my friends about this yesterday, about how I feel like networking just sometimes happens without you even meaning to. Like,
oh my God,
sometimes
totally.
You just meet someone and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck. So I went to I went to work the other day, really hungover, really fragile. It was like a Sunday shift. I work at a pub. And I met this guy, so someone came up to the bar and was like, oh, do any of you have a cigarette that I could have, please? And no one else smoked apart from me. And he was like, oh, Lee, I'll have one. And so he came up to me and was like, I will buy a cigarette off of you. And I was like, you don't have to buy it, babe. I'll roll you one, it's okay. And so I went and sat outside with him, and he was sat with this older guy called Basil that works for the BBC. And this guy that asked for a cigarette was a photographer. And I literally sat and talked to them for like 10 minutes outside when I was supposed to be working. I was like, right, I actually do need to go back inside now. And then I went on my break. Like, I went in, my manager was like, oh, you can go on your break, it's fine. So for 20 minutes, I just sat outside and like smoked with these guys that were like crazy. That was so fun. Yeah. And they were literally saying to me the same thing. Like, they were like, you're going to have to do... I was telling them what like I do and what I want to do, and they were like, you're gonna have to do so many shit jobs like until you know you actually can kind of like. So I'm kind of mentally preparing to leave uni and just go and make tea and coffee for people. But 100%. I love meeting new people, and I love like interacting with new people, meeting new people, so I feel like I would enjoy it. But it's annoying how tedious it is until you actually can get to the part where you're like doing what you actually want to do. Totally. I mean, you can do it outside of it, but you know,
hard. Yeah,
it's harder.
Would you want to go into like photography, or are you into other stuff, or a mixture?
Kind of don't really know. There's quite a few things that I'm interested in. So I haven't made one for a while actually, but I feel like a fraud every time I say it. I do this as well because like I haven't made one in so long. But I also like doing like collages that I make like from magazine spreads and stuff. Cool. So I don't like physically like cut them out and like put them all together and stuff. It's something I really, really want to get back into and just make like collage art as well. Yeah. But I really like, I don't really know, like I really like doing campaign shoots and stuff, like doing like, so like doing something with like a smaller, like I've worked with like smaller brands that I've then done like a photo shoot for them and like directed that. And it's really, really, that's what I really, really enjoy doing. But I'm also aware that like as a young, like if you were like a young creative director, you do also need to know the other skills like photography and stuff. Like you can't just be like going, well, it just feels wrong to go into a shoot being like, well, I'm going to tell you all what to do,
but you don't fully understand.
Yeah, but I don't even know really what it is that you're doing. So I really want to get better at like photography, even if it's I think it would be something, if I got like into it, that I would want to do myself as well. But I think that there's a massive like misconception with what a creative director actually does on a photo shoot. Like a lot of people don't really know, like a lot of photographers that I talk to don't, like they're kind of not too sure. But there's like even if I got really good at photography, like hypothetically, if I got like, really good at photography and like I had the ability to go do be a photographer and an art director on a shoot, it's so different. Like, because if you direct a shoot, you choose a photographer based on their like photographic style, and like you choose like the makeup artist based on their style, you choose like everyone that you're working with, you choose based on what they bring to you. So like say if I had a campaign idea or like a just a concept that it wouldn't suit my style of like photography, I would want to get a different photographer in, and like you're not getting them there to be like, I'm gonna tell you how to do your job. It's very much like I'm like, well, this is what I want. Like, you do, exactly. Like you do your thing. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. And I think that there's a big misconception that creative directors just kind of go in and they're like telling people how to do their job. And which I hear it, because to be honest, there are creative directors that do that, but I don't want to do that. So I'd like to get to a point where I am good at photography and doing my own, like maybe my own little projects or my own little things. But I think I will always want to do like art direction and stuff for different brands. But I don't know if I want to, like, I don't know if you feel like this, but sometimes I feel like coming to LCF, I love like working within the fashion industry, but I kind of get a bit put off sometimes. Like, I'm like, I don't know if like, I don't know, there's some people are just not doing it for the right reasons, I feel. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's like I sometimes get a bit like, I don't know, I'd like to go into doing like music or something, like doing like working in the music industry as well as the fashion industry. I don't know.
See, I think you definitely meet like such a range of people being here, and I think that's definitely like in some ways really good in that, you know, meet people who can help it. Also, you definitely do come across people who maybe not so, and it's like, I'm like, ooh, tea. Like, there's like, to be fair, like no one specific comes to mind. Like when I say that, I'm not like that. Think of someone,
I'm not like, you know, throwing shade at anyone in particular, but I just feel like, I don't really like the way that some people in the fashion industry move sometimes.
I don't actually think I've know that much. Have I? Yeah, I don't think I've only from what I know myself, but I don't think I'm friends with anybody who does the course, what makes sense. Like, I've not heard the ins and outs.
It's kind of, even my own mum, I've tried to describe to her so many times what it is that I do, and she just doesn't get it. Like, she's like, it's like a difficult one to describe because there are so many different people on our course. Like, there are so many different, like, creatives. There's, like, the people that their main thing is DJing. There are people where their main thing is photography. There are people where their main thing is art. There's people where their main thing is music. Like, it's, like, so many different, like, creatives in one room. But the whole course itself is basically teaching how to bring a concept and, like, actually make it, like, real. So, like, in first year, we had a unit where we basically every week did, like, a different discipline and had to learn it, because they were like, if you're going to be going into creative direction, you need to learn how all of these different creatives you're going to be working with, like, work. So, like, 1 week we would do, like, styling, 1 week we would do, like, photography, 1 week we would do, like, something else, which was really fun. And now in our third year, it's kind of, like, set us up to now go do our own independent project. I think that my course is quite like Marmite. Like, some people on it love it, and some people on it really don't like it, and the way that it works. I personally do quite like it, because I feel like I went into it kind of open to, like, find out anything about what I wanted to do. Like, I was like, I just want to, like, see where it takes me. So I quite like the way that the course has been like, you know, done. But see,
to me it sounds like it's nice having that foundation of trying a bit of everything, because you might not have known something that you weren't originally into, but now maybe.
I think it's a bit more difficult for people that went into it knowing already, like, this is exactly what I want to do, and then having to, like, I can understand why people don't gel with it as much, because they've got one thing they want to do. I think one thing as well that our course finds quite frustrating is we don't have access to a lot of things in the uni that I feel like we should have access to.
I'm similar here.
Yeah, like, it's like I feel like well, yes.
Oh, okay.
We are in a studio right now.
I also don't get access to the studios,
we don't.
I think could be beneficial, because we have to photograph our work. So unless I can book it out in my final project in the weekend, they say I can. Doesn't always work, your models.
Exactly. But, like, it's so hard to pull a team together to actually, like, use them. I've been quite lucky that I've met people outside of uni. So it's like I worked somewhere, like, God, it was actually quite a while ago now. Like 6 months ago. I worked at the pub for 6 months. So before that, I was at a place called Bread and Butter in Shoreditch. That was like a vintage, like, clothing brand, and they have their own photography studio in Hackney Wick. So if I was doing work with them, or any shoots that I've done have been there. So I've been quite lucky that I've been able to do that. But if I was relying purely on the uni, like, I would have to work with, like, a photographer, which, like, all the fashion photography students are really talented, so I would. But, like, it's like, but then they are not necessarily always free. They've got their own things going on and stuff as well. So I think that that's one thing that our course is kind of a little bit like. But
especially as you have learnt photography. At least for me, obviously, it's not something that I'd ever do.
It's weird, because, like, they teach to us to, like, a degree, but it's like there was never really, like, a whole. Well, I don't know, it's hard. Like, it was kind of like we'll teach you, like, the basics so you understand how to work with a photographer. Not, we're going to teach you it if you want to be a photographer, but I will call everyone out on my course, myself included. We will all sit there and be like, oh, we want more workshops, we want more this. And then our course leaders are like, okay, well, here you go. And then we just don't go to them. So, like, I do.
Can't always blame.
I do think sometimes we're all a little diva-ish. We're all a little bit like, well, Anthony, we want to do this. And then Anthony's like, well, here's some workshops. And we're like, well, I'm not going to go. But yeah, for your course, obviously I said my flatmate. It feels so rude calling her. It feels so rude calling her my flatmate. She's literally my best friend. But, like, she, like, does that other makeup course. So I'm very familiar with how her course works and stuff. And so I assume it would just be kind of like that, but with prosthetics and, like, a little bit more. Is it more like performance kind of based?
Definitely. We always have to have a sort of setting for our work. So definitely in first and second year, you would have to say this is either for screen or it's theatre. Because it does change the way the makeup's done or the hair, because if you're seeing someone from afar, it's going to be bolder, bigger than, you know, HD up close.
My sister's a dancer, so I've like, I would always like see her do like, she'd have to have like crazy red lip, like put so much makeup on.
Contour is like your orange.
Literally like everything is like so much more enhanced because you need to be able to see it on screen. That is really interesting.
See, I actually came from, I did dance growing up, so I suppose I came from that kind of
like
that
you're already
section
familiar
in
with
a way. But yeah, in first year we kind of just, they taught us the basics and everything, I would say. So we had one lesson on different, I don't know, concepts, like techniques, there we go, it's a better word. So we learned how to like do a face cast, and then we made our own noses. Like basically if you wanted to turn me into an old man, I'd have a big nose. We learned how to do that pretty much. Makeup, kind of all the basics, so keeping your kit clean. Techniques, I suppose. I'd say definitely nothing super in depth. Maybe the prosthetics more. But I think that just comes as you keep doing it. Like everything's so much practice that that's that. And then wigs, we ended up making our own foundation, which is like what you tie the hair onto. Learned basics and hair knotting, which that was really good.
That's so interesting. I actually didn't know that your course like made wigs. Like I thought that you guys would maybe style wigs and like do things like that, but I didn't know you guys were making them. That's so interesting.
Because I know a lot of people anyway with, let's say, cheaper synthetic wigs, you might refront it to make it look a bit more natural. So I think that's more where it comes into. But actually for my final project, I'm kind of making, we have to do a video as well, a bit of like an awareness campaigny advert type for alopecia, and then I'm getting 5 different people who've got the condition, and I'm going to make different wigs and hair pieces for them. So I suppose it's taking what would normally be in a performance context, but in this instead, and they'll get to keep them, which would be nice.
Oh, that's so nice.
So I'm quite excited for that. It'll be hard because, as you say, like we have done it, but maybe not in terms of like very natural. It would be for, I made a white wig for a superhero.
Do you have any pictures?
So that's the foundation on the lace, and then that's how you knot the hair on.
That must be so
I didn't sleep. Like I left it for a week, and I literally did not sleep because I was just there on the wig. Cam was very much with me on this and that.
I think this all the time with people that do, because my course is a little bit more like theory based, I'd say. Like we do have outcomes, but like our kind of what we'll produce for a hand-in will be like a research and development file where we've like researched and like developed a concept, and then we will have.
It's like it finished.
That's insane. That is so cool. Oh my god, Marnie has that fucking
God,
head.
I've got many.
It's so scary. But yeah, like ours will create like a research and development file. So you'll do all your research, build a concept from that, and you will have outcomes, but they're not like, they don't have to be even really finished sometimes. Like you just have to like have done different iterations of different things. And I always think people that do like very practical courses, like, you know, like costume or like, you know, where you're making a fucking wig, if I had to do that, I would procrastinate it. That's it, kind of
finished with
my god, that's insane. That is so insane. I want one. I want a wig. That's crazy. If I had to do something like that, I would procrastinate it so
And
badly.
I think that's where now I've definitely got 2 full wigs, a hair topper, a toupee, and maybe another wig, maybe some eyebrows. It's going to be hell. But it will be good when it's done, and that's what I'm thinking about.
Well, I know that like the costume students are like, my friend Scarlett does costume, and she had to make a corset in first year, and they were then told that they could like sell it afterwards, and she like made this insane corset, like it was gorgeous, and I was just looking at her like, how is that what you're making? That's crazy. But yeah, okay.
What's your final project?
My final project is basically, I kind of really like the way they've done this year. I feel like I'm the side of my course that actually like enjoys it. I still procrastinate a lot of things, to be fair, but our final year has been done quite well, I think. We had a research for independent project unit, and that was the first hand-in that we did.
Okay.
So we were told that we could pick any area of interest. It doesn't even have to really be about fashion. We can do whatever we're interested in and like research it.
That's
and
really good.
just like do it, and it was really fun. I actually didn't get a great grade on it, to be fair. But I
feel like sometimes you have to do exactly what their brief is, even if your work is good, it's not always reflective.
Exactly. I looked at my research and development file the other day, and I'm actually really proud of it. So even though I didn't get an amazing grade in it, I actually am still proud of that outcome. Like, I feel like sometimes the grades aren't everything.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm also someone that's like not gonna make myself do something I don't want to do and then end up like damaging my enjoyment of it just to hit the grade, which is probably a little bit stupid at uni, but like but yeah, so our first unit was research for independent project. And now we're doing independent projects. So we're using all the research that we had made in that project.
Mine's the same, but I'm yet to hand in my research. So we're doing that. We've handed the research in, and we're now revisiting our research for independent project like files. And now we're kind of just being encouraged to take like an element of what we've researched and do whatever we want with it and just iterate loads of different things, which I think is perfect for our courses, like been building up to independent project where they're now actually saying, right, now you can go actually make things and like look at studios, workshops, like do like all of these things. Like our tutor has already like said to us, like, you need to do at least like 2 of these workshops that we've put up. And this is what I was saying, like how we're all like, we're not doing enough practical stuff, like we want to do more practical stuff, and then they give us the workshops and we're like, well, I can't be bothered to do that. So but they seem really fun, so I'm going to pick up a couple of them. But my project is basically about, it's changed a lot. I think that's the only thing that is kind of flawed with it, is a lot of us get like different ideas and then we're kind of stuck because obviously they're encouraging us to develop our ideas, but it has to be what we've researched pretty much already. Like, we don't have enough time to now start like a whole new thing of researching. So mine is about it was about memory and archiving like memory and stuff, and how you can archive memory in a more authentic way, in a way of like, so I was looking at how using multi-purpose tools like your phone and stuff damages your ability to recall a memory whilst you're capturing it. Whereas if you use like a camcorder or a camera, you're actually able to be more in the moment. And it's the limit. I've like been looking at the limitation of using different tools and how that's actually really good for your creativity to be limited in some ways, because it makes you do things differently. Think outside the box
exactly.
a bit more.
And it's like I've been kind of referencing my collages a lot with that, because I don't use Photoshop for them. I've always cut, like I will sit there, it will take me like a whole day to make one, because I'll be sat cutting out each individual piece, and then you're limited by the size of it. You can't resize it, you can't like do anything, you have to make it work. Like the composition of it still has to work, and that can take hours to do. But I love it. Like it's like that's the part that I love so much about it, and that's why I do it like that, because I started doing it that way truthfully because I just didn't really know how to use Photoshop, and it's like I had these ideas of what I wanted to make, but it just wasn't. And I like the look of like a physical collage, like I liked the way it was. Now I know how to use Photoshop, and I just prefer doing it like physically, because the limitation is so nice. Like I end up with outcomes that I never would have had if I could go on Photoshop and resize it and like do it. Like it's like makes me think in a different way. So that's kind of what my like independent project is about. So we're now in a context stage of our independent project. We've literally just started it like this week or last week. So we're now having to take a certain element and carry it across. I think that what I'm going to do is focus on the whole like limitation, like the importance of limitation and creative practice. And I think that I want to gear, so my audience before was like Gen Z creatives, and I think that I want to develop it to be people with ADHD, because the reason why
I also have ADHD, so
what a surprise.
Everybody has something.
What a surprise. These two girls that are sat here yapping non-stop both have ADHD. But yeah, like, because part of the reason why I really enjoy making collages in that way is because I'm so involved. It is like one of the only things I do that makes my brain actually have one thought at a time. Like not no thoughts, but like one at a time. And so I'm gonna look into how different ADHD creatives do like their practices and how they kind of, because I feel like with having ADHD, you can't work against your brain. You have to learn to work with it.
Definitely.
Like, you can't do things in kind of like a normal way. Like, everyone has like their own methods and ways of doing things and like setting things up for themselves. So I think that that's kind of what I'm going to go into, but I'm scared that I'm going to end up falling in the hole of like having to then do more research. Like, because I haven't really looked at ADHD in my research for independent projects, so I don't know.
I think it's such a good thing to talk about as well, because it's definitely not always discussed.
No, yeah.
So I think incorporating that with your idea of like creativity and being more physical, like, you know, limitations and things, I think that's a really cool idea. And yeah, I think that's great. Love it.
Thank you. So yeah, I think a lot of my iterations are going to be about like limitation and stuff and doing that sort of thing. But it's so interesting because I witnessed this, like, not even just with myself, but everyone. It's like me, Cam, and Lucas have been friends since before we even started uni. Like, we all became friends like, on Instagram. Yeah. Like, we all became like besties before that, and like, it's so nice to see how much you can visually see how much everyone has changed, and everyone is so much more confident in their practices. Everyone is so much more like, this is so cute. Everyone is just like actually themselves now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like everyone has really come into themselves by the end of third year, and it's like there is obviously gonna be the hardship of like, it's third year now, I'm really scared, like, you know, whatever, but it's like I can see it on other people that everyone is just so much more themselves and so much more like, you know, whatever, that I just look at my friends and I'm like, well, you're all gonna be famous one day. Like, I look at Lucas,
remember me
like,
now,
and I look at Lucas and I'm like, that bitch is gonna be a famous photographer one day. The fuck. And I look at Cam and I'm like, that bitch is a famous bitch. Like, and it's just so nice to see. Sorry, that was literally not about me whatsoever. I just wanted to gas my friends up.
It's nice to be in an environment where everybody is sort of flourishing in their own like practices.
Exactly.
And like, I suppose it gives more ways to collaborate. Like, I don't think walking into here that I thought I would have done what I've done. And like, I can't, it's not, you know, nothing crazy, but like, I've done some fashion shows, done shoots, like, met some cool people, and I definitely didn't think that would happen whilst I'd still be at uni. I thought that would come later.
I completely agree.
That's definitely opened my eyes to like that world being here. Definitely wouldn't have happened without coming here. Meeting more sure, and doesn't matter if you're not creatively interested.
I actually think that I've not even become comfortable with not knowing what I've wanted to do. I've embraced how important it is to not know what you want to do, because I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing my project about. When you don't know and like there's like limitation, that pushes you in the places that make the best work. Like, I've made the best work just by sitting and like being like, what do I want to do? Like, yesterday I had such a good brain day. I was literally messaging Manny like, my brain is on fire today. And like, I was just sat like by myself, and I was like, look, I don't really know what the fuck is. I was writing my dissertation. I was like, I don't really know what's going on at the moment, but it's fine. And then I just was quiet, and I was like, let myself be uncomfortable, and then it came to me and it was fine, and like, everything's gonna be okay, like, you know what I mean?
I'd say for me, definitely, like, as you say, like, becoming more sure of like your practice and more confident, even because I always knew I wanted to do this course. I'd researched it years ago, and I remember I was applying, like, I was doing A-levels at the time, so I hadn't ever like touched makeup or hair like professionally. And I was basically like, they were like, you've got to do a foundation, you won't get in for art foundation and all this stuff, and I just applied, and well, here I am, I'm in. So I'd say definitely, if you want to do something, like, just apply. Like, there's nothing, what's the worst that can happen? You don't get in, great, you reapply.
I did a foundation because I got to the end of my A-levels and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I want to do. So much of my like career is like actually built off, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, it's like, I don't know what to do, and then I just end up trying something, and I'm like, okay, that works. So that's the whole reason why I'd done that art foundation, was because I was like,
people who have done it say it's really good.
But
did you really?
I didn't enjoy it, but only because I was kind of stressed the whole time of thinking,
what will I do after?
It was like just stressful. And then I took another year out because I applied to UAL for a different I can't remember what course I applied for at the end of my foundation, but I knew I wasn't going to get it because I hadn't like really made a portfolio. Like, I realized that what I wanted to do at the end of my foundation, and then I found like the course, and I was like, that is perfect. Like, that's exactly what I need. I need a course that I can just go and like just make shit and try different things out for like 3 years. And then I worked for like a year doing my portfolio, and then applied and then got in. But yeah, like I'm so like, I remember when I got in, the day, it was so funny. I had gotten into all my other unis that I'd applied for, and then I got an email from UCAS being like, you've had changes to your thing, and I knew that it was going to be London College of Fashion, and I was like, oh my God, and I literally was sat pacing around with my mum, and I'd like just hyped my dog up to go for a walk, like I was like, who's going walkies? And my dog was like, yes, and then he was like all hyped, and then I got that email, and I was like, fuck, and then my mum was like, open it now, and I was like, no, I can't, and then I was like, no, I have to,
you can't wait,
and then I opened it, and I literally screamed, I was crying, and my mum couldn't tell whether I'd got in or got rejected.
Or not,
She was like, congratulations, I don't know what's going on. And my dog was sat there like, yeah, like it was so funny. And then I went for a dog walk, so I'm from Norfolk, so I live in like the fucking middle of nowhere where I'm from back home, and I walked like just round the countryside knowing that I'd gotten in, and I was like, it was just, it was crazy.
I remember I was sat in my PE class, and the day before I'd turned down a different uni because I'd already got it into 3, knew I didn't want to go there for an interview. So when the message pops up as being changed on your UCAS, I assumed the uni had changed my status with them. I opened it up and it went, you've got into EL, and I literally was burst out crying, and I was like, oh my God, did not expect it.
That's so exciting.
But I think it's saying like with growth and stuff, the person who I was when I got that is definitely my practice stuff. I've changed so much, and just being more sure of like what I want and how to deal with things. Like I was on a short film set last week sometime, and just even like talking to the directors and like speaking to the people, like knowing that if I need more time to do something, you can't give me 5 minutes for a full face, it's not going to happen. And just communicating
I think that's so important. This is something that I'm only just kind of really learning this year, is having creative boundaries. Just because you're working for someone doesn't mean that they like that you have to like do everything.
There's compromise and everything.
Exactly.
I would love an hour. That's not reasonable. Please at least give me 20 minutes.
Exactly. Like,
this isn't going to happen in 5.
Like, it's happened to me before, like where I've had to like put my foot down on a shoot, and it's like, it's so uncomfortable, but like you have to do it sometimes
because the outcome would be better.
Exactly. And I think that's one thing that I've only just kind of really learned, is that just because you're working for someone, you need to like respect yourself as a creative as well, and like respect the fact that, because like your outcome that reflects you, like whatever the shoot that I'm doing looks like, it's like that's so important to me. Like if I work on a shoot, that's my baby. Like it's, the outcome of it is so important to me that it is so important to just be like, look, I don't want to do it this way. And if you're lucky, you'll work with people that are like, okay, I trust you. That's nice. But
definitely, I think everyone needs trust in each other, because
I think so
I
too.
suppose there've actually been more similarities, I suppose, in that we both shoots and like things like that everyone needs to be respected in the area, and I think at least here that does happen.
I think so too. But this is like what I was saying with like creative direction, is it's sometimes a little bit hard to go onto a shoot knowing that like creative directors don't always have the best rep. But it's like I would never go and be like telling a photographer how to do their job. I'd done this one shoot, it was really, really fun. I went to Wales. And it was so much fun, and that the director and the photographer just wanted me there just to like have fun ideas of what it looked like, and that was really nice. But that's
all good.